Hello.
Hello!
Welcome back.
Welcome to another episode of Cat and Cass Talk Music. That's our
Mm-mm.
name, we decided.
Happy almost end of 24 or maybe end of 2024
Yeah,
when you're listening to
y'all are
this. Who
seeing
even
this.
knows? Um yeah, do you want to tell the people what we're doing today?
Yeah, well, first, I guess because it's the end of 2024, for those of you who aren't watching, but should
Tune
be,
into that.
tune into the watching. Cass wanted to dress for the holidays, so Cass is looking very grinchy.
Merry Christmas if you like that.
Their heart is gonna grow 3 times. And
Truly.
I said no, I'm gonna dress for New Year's Eve instead because New Year's Eve is my favorite holiday, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to work this year.
Ugh,
Yeah,
everyone's working this year.
I know, but I
I'm
like my
pissed.
coworkers a lot, so I think it might be kind of fun in its own way.
Good. And hopefully you'll make some bank.
I hope so.
I hope that for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing a little top 5 albums of 2024 action on the pod. Before we get into it, do you have any like macro comments about 2024 in music or like looking at your
Um,
albums?
yeah, I think a lot of my albums in the top 5 ended up being really important in terms of the general conversation that's happening around like genre and what
Mm,
genre means. I think that a lot of artists are becoming have probably been very self-aware about where they fall in the genres that they sing in, and I think a lot of them are playing with it or using it as an opportunity to pay tribute to um, like artists in those genres that came before them or talk about exclusion in different genres. So I think it was a big year for that. I don't know if I was just more tuned into that or if that was really a theme that was happening.
I think
Um,
it was
yeah.
totally
Also, big year for pop, or maybe that's just us, but
huge year for pop.
yeah. Do you have any macro comments?
I guess like so I couldn't make like just 5. I just like there were so many albums I just like had to write them all down and like move them
Hmm.
around. And like this has been pretty true for me for a while, but like it's all women in my like top 16 albums. And like it's not just me. Like you look at the charts, you look at the Grammy nominations, like the dudes really aren't pulling their weight these days.
The Grammy
And I'm
noms are crazy.
crazy. And I'm so glad we've like gotten to this point culturally where like not men are like getting the respect like critically and commercially. Like I saw on
Hmm.
like chart data on Twitter, they were like the Weeknd was the most streamed male artist this year, and I love when they have to put male like to give him the number one spot because Taylor is definitely number one, and I think someone else even might have maybe like Ariana or Sabrina or someone even beat him too. So I think yeah, and we're definitely gonna be talking a lot about genre
Yeah.
and pop. Like we're in like I really feel like we're in this like golden age of pop music right now. Yeah, so I'm just grateful to be here for real.
Yeah. No, we were born in the right generation.
Yeah, we were.
It was a really hard list to make. Like I definitely was moving stuff around and dropping stuff until like the last, like right before we
Same.
decided to record.
Like in the shower 20 minutes ago.
So I guess I'm wondering how like what kind of categories you use to determine the best. Because for me, it's like top 5. That's a combination of what I like, but then also what was really important culturally. And in
Yeah.
terms of like artistry and how the album was throughout, like as a whole, as a project. Because so many of these albums went beyond just like people listening and became
Yeah.
these huge cultural moments of significance. And yeah, so how did you make the list?
It was so hard. It was so hard. The only thing harder than making this list was me last night watching Paul Mescal in Gladiator 2. Like, it was just like I spent the last like week just listening to all these albums like all the way through. And it was hard. What did I even think? I think what I tried to think about is like in 10 years, like which of these albums and I am I still going to be streaming? Like which of these albums really will like have that cultural weight like more than just this year? And then at a certain point I was like this is my top albums. Like I looked at so I have like Last FM, which like tracks your streaming on Spotify. Because I don't always trust the Spotify. Like the Spotify list isn't the whole year, you're wrapped, whatever. So I was looking on that, and that was super interesting. But it's also hard because some albums come out in January, some albums come out in November, some albums have 31 songs, some albums have like 10 or 11 songs. But I tried to just like, okay, like which albums was I like spending the most time with? Which albums like made me think the most? Which albums like grew on me the most versus like I liked right out the gates. But at the end of the day, I basically just picked my favorites because that's what I think is the best.
We were gonna try to guess which albums are perhaps on the other person's list before we go through the
Yeah.
ranking.
I can make the first guess.
Okay.
Okay. Did Short and Sweet make it into your top 5?
Yeah, it did.
Two, one for me. We should like put a tally.
Maybe this is too easy, but I think Brat is on your top 5.
Yes, I would guess the same for you.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And I kind of looked at it in terms of the whole, like, including Brat, but it's the
And it's
same,
completely
but
different.
somewhat- Yeah, whatever. Yeah, all of those are in
Yeah.
kind of the Brat umbrella.
The Brat verse. The Brat Cinematic Universe. The
No,
BCU.
literally. I think maybe also Tyla was in your top
No.
5. No? Really?
I had to make budget cuts and it really pained
Was she
my
in your
soul.
top 16?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where she was actually 11.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Wait, I'm
Yeah.
so excited to hear which ones you put above that. Was Cowboy Carter in your top 5?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Miss Beyonce, she could put out like the worst thing you've ever heard, and I would make it number 5. I would at least give her an honorable mention. I'm gonna guess, did Charm make it?
No, it actually didn't. I like Charm a lot, and I think it was really important
too.
in Claire's career, and I really liked the reach that it had. But I just didn't go back to it that much for some reason. I think it's just sometimes for me, a lot of times it's like albums will find me at a point in time in my life where I like really click with it or really don't. And like for Immunity, 1,000%. Like I was listening to that every day. But then Sling, I kind of didn't, and again with Charm.
Yeah, same.
I kind of didn't, and I still really like them all as like projects, but not in my top 5.
It's funny because like looking at my list, I'm like, how could you not get this one? Two of them are a little trickier, but one of them is you'll know.
Was Eternal Sunshine in your top 5? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Was that the one that you were like you're missing a big one?
Yeah, I was like, you have to get that
Forgetting
one.
about that one. I keep forgetting
You
about
don't
that.
know me if you don't know. I will stand Ariana Grande till the day I die.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
it was-
Wicked twice.
Yeah.
So,
That was another album that I think is so good, and I think she's Ariana Grandeing so hard. But it just,
Yeah.
at the point in time that I was hearing it in my life, it wasn't something that I was super connecting to. So it was more like, I really like how
Yeah.
it sounds.
understandable. I have two more guesses for you. Did Orquídeas make it?
Yes. He just made it in the 11th hour. I really locked into that album like this week, even though it came out in January.
Yeah, it came out
I've been
so
listening
early.
to Labios Mordidos all year. And like a bunch of the other ones, like Muñequita and
Oh my
like
god.
all of they're like so good.
Heladito.
I really did like a top to bottom and was like, wait, I really like this.
No, yeah, she really eats.
Yeah.
And my other guess for you, I can't remember the name, but the Declan McKenna album from
Yeah,
this
I
year.
knew you were
Yeah.
gonna guess that. Yeah.
What's it
What
called?
happened to the beach?
Yes.
Yes.
Great name.
That was a big one that was like I put it on here because it was one of my favorite albums. You
Mm,
know, like maybe its reach wasn't as wide, but I also really like what it stands for within his career. So I'm excited to talk
mm.
about that.
Well, should we
Yeah,
get
let's
into
do
it?
it. We'll start with number 5.
Te toca a ti.
Um, I had Orquídeas at number 5. I think it has a lot of, like you were talking about, what albums am I gonna keep listening to? Um, like that one has so much
Replay
longevity.
value. Yeah.
Yes, replay value out the wazoo. And I also just love when we are talking about genre and stuff.
Mhm.
I love how much she is incorporating just like so many Latinx and like music in Spanish, like so many genres. Um, and even like she interpolates like Murder She Wrote in like one of the biggest like reggae songs. I think it's in Labios Mordidos, and it was so good. And she has like bolero music, like
Uh,
salsa, reggaeton. Like she really was like, let me use this, let me use this, and like I like how it builds throughout the album because the first couple ones are very like the caliuchis that we know, like very relaxing and like really
como
like
así?
being such a
Es
bad
así. Como
bitch.
así?
Yeah.
Es así.
And so exactly. And so I really love that, and I love her just like trajectory as an artist is so interesting as like someone who went from singing and releasing a lot of music in English and like then maybe doing some of them in Spanish and stuff like
Mm,
that and now releasing this album like entirely in Spanish, which is a risk as an artist because then
totally.
you are maybe going to be told that your music isn't going to reach as far, or it's not going to be like appreciated as much if
And she
but
was told that on her
yeah,
label.
absolutely. And I really love that as an artist. She chose to take that direction, and I think it's just an amazing album. Like, so seamless, so like, just like really like it almost feels like a hug in some
Mm,
ways. This is like music I've been hearing for so long and like not this kind of like pop soul genre and stuff like
mm.
that. And I think a lot of artists will do stuff like that, like Bad Bunny, but I love that she's doing it as like a female artist. Like I feel like it's even more of a risk. And so
Yeah.
yeah, great album.
I remember listening to Orquídeas like the first time through, like the transitions from song to song, the way
Yeah.
she like can use all these different genres so seamlessly and make it nostalgic and pushing the boundaries. I was like, I've been a big Kali Uchis fan like since high school, and
Mhm.
when she put this out, I was like she isn't going anywhere. Like she is so consistent, so talented. She was like she's had a child in the last year or two as well. Like she's had a lot of things going on, but she has been putting out a lot of bangers. Eladito is probably one of my top songs of the year. Like
Mhm.
that song is so nice.
So
Like
good.
so nice. And she weaves a lot of English into her songs
Yeah.
in like such a like it's so impressive
It's
how
like a
she can like be
tool.
bilingual in her
Yeah.
songs, and
Mhm.
it's just her. It's
Yeah.
just her being her.
Tirano, like her like Spanish version of Tyrants is like
Ugh,
probably my most listened to songs of all time.
yeah.
It's like on my sleep playlist. And what was your top 5 or your number
My
5?
number 5 was Eternal Sunshine,
Right.
Ariana Grande.
And why did it get
Um,
that spot?
I remember the day this came out, my mom was in Spain with me, and I was like in the shower blasting it, and every song I was like, I think, like you were saying, like this is like Ariana Grandeing so hard and at her best. And I've been thinking about it a lot in the preparation for this, and I think what the way I kind of think about it is like her Sweetener Thank You Next era was when she really started like grappling with like herself as a persona, and like taking that and like putting it into her music. And then I think what she kind of has done on Eternal Sunshine is she's kind of like past that. It felt like this album to me felt like she just like needed to make this for herself and she wasn't even gonna put it out. Like she just was doing this to heal and to process and to whatever. Like this is her divorce album. Like that's pretty crazy. Um like she did not need to release this. Her label did not want her to release this. Like Wicked people did not want her to release this. She's like forever just like a very polemic figure in the media, and we don't need to get into that. But what I love about this album is that it feels like she really like took a piece of herself and like put it into this record, in a way that even songs like Ghosting or like Get Well Soon or like these like No Tears Left to Cry, like when she took these like very public, really hard moments and like put them into music in a really like productive way. I feel like this whole album is that. Like she's never, and this is her like after filming Wicked, and you can hear that, like you can understand her now, and even like in her vocal performance, like she doesn't sound like how she sounded on Positions. Like to be Glinda, she literally like did like opera training, you know, and you can like I can hear. I've spent a lot of time listening to Ariana Grande. I can hear how different her voice sounds in this record, and she's never been like she's always been an amazing singer. Duh. She's never been so emotive and so like free in how she's singing. So I'm just so proud of my girl.
That's awesome.
I love this album.
I love that. I always think about Imperfect for You. And
So good.
just seeing the lyric, like just seeing that title, it was kind of exactly what I was expecting in a really good way.
And getting to see Troye Sivan sing all of Supernatural by himself,
Oh my
I
God,
was
that was
like,
crazy.
yes. He did not do that this Sweat tour, so sorry, y'all. We got a real treat.
It was, I kind of remember, wasn't he like, so Ariana Grande has never sang this live before. We all were like, is she coming out? It's like,
No. And you did the same thing with Charlie. He was like, oh, like, Charlie's gonna be here tomorrow, right? And he was like, I'm not bringing her out. Don't get your hopes up. And Charlie did the same thing with Troy. She's like,
Yeah.
Troy was here yesterday, but he's not here anymore.
no, so good.
Okay. What was your number 4?
My number 4 was Short and Sweet. I personally liked Emails I Can't Send more than I like Short and Sweet. I really loved that album, and I think I just, connected with that one more than Short and Sweet. I think, but I think Short and Sweet is like one of the most obviously important albums in her career. Everyone has been like, who is this girl? Like, she is so irrelevant. Like, she came out of nowhere. Like, she's just here because, like, Taylor put her in the Eras Tour. Like, she has had a career for over a decade. This is her 6th studio album that has come out, and it's kind of being treated like her sophomore album
Right.
because of, like, when she got popular. And, Emails I Can't Send, she really did start to build some recognition for herself with, like, Nonsense, and Because
Yeah,
I
and
Liked a
Feather.
Boy, and she was all up in that like Olivia Rodrigo drama and all of that. And um I think with this album I really feel like she was like, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna show y'all why I actually like what I want to be known for, and show y'all that this wasn't a fluke for me to be like at the top like this. And I think she also really showed the power of editing. And because
Yes.
the album
Oh
is
my God.
literally 32 minutes long, 12 songs. Like, Longest song on the album is Juno, and it's 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Six of the songs are less than 3 minutes long. Like, she really was like so, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Succinct.
Like succinct, yeah, and like deliberate also with
Yeah.
the songwriting and the production and everything. Like, she was able to convey so much in a short amount of time, and I think that's really impressive as an artist. I think it really shows how she's like a professional. Like, this has been her, she's like very a well-seasoned professional in this kind of like industry. And she totally like took the parts that were working from Emails I Can't Send, like with the nonsense outro and stuff, and like turned it up, which is like part of leaving behind the whole like child actor actress challenge that a lot of artists have. And so yeah, I just really liked how she locked in, and I also really think it was fun that Espresso was like so popular and such a big
The
moment.
most
And
streamed song of
continues to
the
be.
year on
Yeah.
Spotify.
And so I was like, and that was another one that apparently, maybe the artists are just saying this, but like her label didn't want her to release it. Like, they didn't think it was going to be that popular and well received, and like literally insane. So
That's
that's
so
why I had it
funny.
at number four.
Yeah, short and sweet. I have it number six. Um, just like such witty, like the line where she says like, "I'm stupid, but I'm clever." I feel like it's kind of like the perfect encapsulation of this album. Like, it's so real, it's so fun, it's so funny. And what I keep thinking about this album is like she like has completely solidified her brand,
Mm-hmm.
and that is so impressive, especially because the album is very diversely genre troped, kind
Mm-hmm.
of. Just kind of like digging into all these different buckets, but it's still like she is the glue of the album. Um, yeah, she's just so funny. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy for her. Like getting to see her at this tour. It reminded me a lot in like different ways, but it reminded me a lot of like seeing Taylor Swift at 1989
Mm-hmm.
when it was like, oh, like she is doing her best and like the world is finally like rallying behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
Um,
I also, when you were talking about genre, in the Pitchfork review for it, I remember they said like genre for her is like a tool that she uses to create songs, not just like what her songs end up sounding like.
and shout out Amy Amy something who has credits on like every song.
Mm.
There's this really crap, I can't remember her name. Amy something. She has credits on like every
Oh, that's
song on
you.
Short and Sweet. Um,
I'm gonna look it up.
so shout out that girl too.
Amy something.
My number four is For Your Consideration by Empress of.
Mm.
This is one of my lesser known picks, but I couldn't not put it in. I moved things around and then I listened to it the other day and I was like, nope, I will be streaming this till the day I die. Empress of is really interesting. She's like Honduran American, from LA, and she's predominantly made music in Spanish, or excuse me, in English before this, with like some Spanish. But this one, she like really leaned into the Espanol of it all. And a lot of the songs are like bilingual. A lot of them are just like Spanish dominant. There are a few songs that are just in English. She got super inspired by this album from Bjork's a cappella album, Medulla,
No
from like
way.
2003 or something, which is one of not one of my favorite albums ever, but an album I really admire.
You're such a
And how,
weirdo.
yeah, and this album is like very dancey, like it's very club pop, and almost all the production, like almost all the percussion, is just her voice, like modulated. And something about it, I don't know. Like I listen to this album and I like want to make my own music just like her. Like so it's so like vulnerable too. Like in a lot of the songs, she's kind of just like I'm a bad person. Like, she has a song called Fácil, and she's using fácil and frágil, like kind of back and forth. It's just like easy and like fragile.
Mhm.
Um, and she has a song like What Type of Girl Am I, where she's like, fuck on the first night, don't care if you call. But it's like all of these songs are like packaged. They're all like kind of like crying, dancing songs, I would categorize them as. Um, or like she has songs about like her partner like cheating on her.
Mhm.
And it's like the most upbeat, fun song on the album. Um, and just the juxtaposition of like wanting to be happy and forcing yourself to find joy and processing all your trauma and all the shit going on in your life. This album is so stellar.
Nice.
And oh, I can't not move to this album. Like I have spent so much time dancing in my room in the shower. Like this is such a good shower album.
Is this the artist that you said was using like gender inclusive pronouns
Yes.
in her Spanish music?
Yes, she has this song. It's the fifth track called Femenine. And it's just so interesting. Like I've never heard just like gender inclusive language in Spanish.
Well, because the language is literally gendered. Like,
Yeah. And it's so good. Like she's really pushing the envelope in such interesting ways.
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Number three.
Number three. I had Cowboy Carter in number three. Is
Good
that
job.
okay?
I also have Cowboy Carter on my list.
Nice, yes. Yeah, I put it at number three. Well, I don't know. I feel like I should just talk about how important of an album it is first, because just like within her career as part of like the trilogy that she's
Mm.
creating, such a cool second piece of that after Renaissance. I think it was such an exciting album to listen to front to back because it was just so like all over the place but so cohesive, and there was so many important tributes to like other country artists. um and then again, when we're talking about genre, like she is so like literally says that like she wasn't country enough and she's been treated that way for so long because she's black. And so releasing this entire country album that within itself comments on like the fluidity of genre and what does genre really mean, and it's such a like production all the way
Ugh.
through. Like I like how there's like an act two, like, you know. And then it's so cohesive, but then also all the songs stand out so much individually. And
Yeah, this album just like I like calling it an album is kind of an understatement. Like
mhm,
Beyonce has always made like albums, like cohesive package, but with this like Renaissance trilogy, she's like making statements. She's like writing like essays. Like she just has so much to say and she like packages it in an album because like
mhm.
that's what she does best and that's like the reach that she has. I feel like this album, I remember like the day before it came out, she was like posting on Instagram like, y'all, this isn't a country album. This is a Beyonce album. And what's so interesting is this album she wrote in like 2018, 2019, like after her Lemonade, when she performed Daddy Lessons with the Chicks at the CMAs, and everyone was so fucking racist to her and sexist and all the things. And this was gonna be her next album after Lemonade. And then the pandemic happened, and she was like, the girls want to dance, so let's dance. Which actually makes Renaissance way crazier that she like threw that together in like a year or two. Like
Yeah.
that's just insane. And then she comes out with an 80-minute epic, like calling this an album is kind of rude because it's like I feel like she's actually like deconstructing the idea of genre.
Hmm.
And she does it like explicitly, like in the Linda Martell interlude, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, genre's kind of dumb, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
And in every song, you feel her like playing with that. This is also such a historical album. Like, it's literally kind of just like running through American musical history from the last 70 years or so. And in the Pitchfork review, they said this is like probably the most expensive album ever made because
Hmm.
it's like the Beatles,
Right. It
Dolly
has.
Parton, the Beach Boys. Like these are expensive fucking samples.
Hmm.
And people love to write off Beyonce as like, oh, she's just taking this and taking that. You do it better. Like I want to see you fucking try. Like, okay, you can sample any song, you can use whatever songwriter you want, but you could not make an album half as good as this.
Hmm.
Like she is such a curator, and that's what's really shining through, I think, on Cowboy
Yeah.
Carter.
It's such a display of artistry. Like,
And like history,
yeah,
she does the work.
she literally takes you on a tour, like, and like narrates it, like, outwardly, which I love about this album. What place was it for you?
I have it second.
Okay, that's right. I think you said that.
Yeah.
What was your number three?
My number three was Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay, which is another needs to have more streams. It's so funny because one of the big songs, Image, is like all over my TikTok, and then it still only has like 15 million streams, and I'm like, I thought we were all fucking bumping this, but we're not. So let me give you my little pitch for why I think everyone needs to go stream this album. This album, like, unironically sent me back to therapy. Like, I really like Magdalena Bay from their last album, Mercurial World. And I was super excited when this one was coming out, and I was reading all their reviews and listening to their interviews, and they were like, oh, like, how did you get inspired to write this album? And they were like, oh, so it's a man and a woman, and the woman was like, oh, like, I've been like going a lot to therapy, and I do this like psychosomatic, is that what's psychoanalytic, where it's like all about the subconscious and your dreams and like your family and like understanding like your grandparents' family dynamics so that you can understand your parents' family dynamics so that you can understand your so you can understand. And I was like, holy shit. And listening through this album, it really like scratches at the subconscious for me. Salud. And it really like, it's almost, how do I say this? Like, it almost like forces you to like interrogate your own self. Like, you can't really just like sit there and you can sit there and passively listen and be like, oh yeah, like they're really fun songs to dance to. But if you listen even a little bit, like the idea of this album and like the album cover is her like having like a disc inserted like into her brain. And there's this interlude where it's like, oh, like, say hello. It's you, the purest you. And it's kind of this idea of like image and perception and who we are and who we think we are, like even to ourselves. And they have this like concept that there's like a character and she's like doing all these things, and it's pretty hard. You have to like look up what it is to really understand it, in my opinion. But what they do so well is they make it such a cohesive experience. Like kind of just like with Cowboy Carter, like I can't just listen to one song, because when I listen to one song, it starts transitioning into the next song, and I'm like, I need it. And the songs are so almost like they have this like feral primalness to them. Like there are songs called like Death and Romance. You know, and I think the song right after that is called Fear, Sex. Like they're really like digging into the human psyche. But the package is this like art pop with like really hard, like almost like rock drums, like acoustic drums with these super synthetic sounds. And her voice throughout the album, it's like almost grating in the best way. She has this like very like nasally, like crooning voice. And I'm just addicted to them, and I really think this is like one of the best. I wouldn't even call it a concept album, but kind of just like art pop albums ever made. And now when I go and listen to Mercurial World, I'm like, Loki, this sucks compared to Vaginal Disc. Like, they are just so talented, and so like raw, and like they force me to be raw and vulnerable with myself, which is why I had to put them on number 3.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, great album. Bump it, everyone, go bump
Yeah,
it.
I know. You're putting me on so much music right now.
Yeah, I
That's what
love
we're
them.
here for.
Exactly. Okay, so number 2,
Number
who is?
2 is What Happened to the Beach by Declan McKenna. I think this is one of the albums I listened to. It was like an album that kept me company throughout the year.
Oh,
Like, I really just, I love Declan McKenna. Why am I like getting emotional?
this was me with Ariana. Like, I can't speak on her
It
without
was
tearing
like,
up.
it came out in February. I had been really excited for it because I really, really got into Declan McKenna like only in 2022, 2023.
Hmm.
And so I was really excited for this because it was his third album, with this label, like third album, period. Um,
Period.
and I think something that he does so amazingly is just like playing with sound because he is known for like a couple things and he could that he does really well and I feel like he could keep kind of like pandering to those like sounds like Brazil is his most popular song by far and it does have all those political elements to it but it's kind of lost in the like to most listeners who are listening to it passively it just kind of sounds nice. He could keep doing that, but he really just wants to make his own sound and use his music as like a tool to spread these messages that I really like. Um, and I want to do a Declan McKenna episode, Avi, but
Stay tuned.
so I'll talk more about the like how his music progressed through each album. But this one was really stripped down compared to his last album, Zeros. Like Zeros was a lot of big noises, like tributes to like Bowie and like really kind of galactic sounds. I think this is his most abstract album also. Like so many of his other songs before are so like he's saying exactly what he is trying to say very explicitly. And this one was very abstract and very experimental. And so I like when artists do things like that, but it's still very true to his sound in different ways, you know? And so I really like when artists are like, they respect their fans enough to kind of take them along in this journey and don't. And he is self aware about all of this also because he talks about In Nothing Works, which was, I think, one of the first singles he dropped off this album, um, where he is talking about how he's being told like oh you don't like now that you're successful you don't relate to the kids anymore like this isn't what they want to hear like you need to do something different um and he just talks about that in kind of like a playful like okay yeah I'll just change everything about myself but that doesn't work either you know and so there's a lot of that in this album. There's a lot of just like very soothing. Like I love Mulholland's Dinner and Wine. Um and like Mezzanine, they're so that was like my walking around music. So when I say that this album like kept me company and stuff, it came out so early on. I listened to it the day it came out and then I just have so many memories of walking around in Granada when I was like alone. It was just such a nice, soothing thing to listen to while I walked around and while I went to new places and it's also an album that grew on me so much throughout the year like I really liked it and I really knew it was an album that was going to grow on me as soon as I heard it because it was such a departure from Zeros um but I could see exactly what he was trying to do with it and then it wasn't until like October when I finally was like, okay, now I think this is my favorite Declan McKenna album. Even though there's so many songs that I love so much on his first two albums, this is such a cohesive sound and like new direction, and a salute to the fact that now he is independent. Like, this was the last album that he had to make under his label. I think that this album just, it did so much at once. It was like such a like ended this one chapter of his musical career, and also alluded to how much he wants to do his own thing and how much he really just like believes in what is going on inside his own head. So that
Respect.
was a lot of reasons I really liked it. I also just like to vibe out to some of the songs. Like, I liked that I was able to literally listen to it whatever mood I was in, wherever I was in the world, and feel very like held by it.
Well, a man made the list. Amen.
Congratulations.
I hope you all feel seen right now.
Yeah, now you know exactly what to do. Just be like
Study
that.
up, okay?
Just look for something. Oh my god. Like,
That's so funny.
yeah, so he has very few like love songs, which I think is so interesting. But his songs, so many of the songs on this album also were speaking directly to fans, being like, I believe in you, like, you can do this, like, you can do the things that you want to do, just like I'm doing the things that I want to do. And
Well, that's cute.
I think that's such an interesting thing to do as an artist. So, yeah,
So proud of you, Declan.
we love you.
Sorry I missed you at the short and sweet tour. I was circling around downtown Los Angeles. I was close,
Traffic, man.
but I was not there. Well, I'm so glad that we both have the same number one.
Yes, that's so
Because
exciting.
I was pretty sure we would.
I
was
was
sure.
pretty sure also. I mean,
Right.
what is the other option? There is none.
No, literally, like, yeah. So it's Brat.
What?
Charli
Congratulations,
XCX.
Charlie.
She already like did her little post of like all the rankings that put her high, but you missed one, Queen. You were too quick on that.
I had no idea this
You
was
forgot
coming.
us.
Yeah.
We also both put you number one. Like, what can we even say that hasn't been said?
I mean, we could easily do a whole episode on literally just like
Easy.
each Brat chapter. Like, each one could have its own episode. My brother said no album has been like more of its time than Brat, and I was like,
Okay, Alfie.
I see what you mean. Yeah, and I think it did so many things. I think for her, it was what kind of, even after this long career and having many hits, and
Yeah.
like, I'm still surprised when people, before this album, when people didn't know who Charlie XCX was, but
Yeah.
this really shot her into the mainstream. And by still, like, the songs aren't more mainstream than
Yeah.
Crash, like, the songs aren't more like palatable than her previous work. It was very, and she was very explicit about the fact that it is kind of like a callback to where she started and like this Brat persona and stuff like that. But
Yeah. She also is in when you're talking about Declan and his record contract. Crash was her 5th of 5 albums that she had to do with Atlantic Records. And like you can really feel that in Crash. She's like playing with this idea of like, what do the people want to hear? What do I want to make? What does my label want me to make?
yeah.
And then the gag was she signed another contract with her label. She was like, no, actually, like, I do want your backing. But let it be known that, like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I'm so just proud and happy for her that she's finally in a place where she can just make the music she wants to make. And that is what connected to people so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'd be remiss to not talk about the marketing of this
Oh yeah,
album.
of course.
Like she is a on like she is a businesswoman. Like she
Mm-hmm.
is so smart. Um, and I haven't seen that really from her before this, like as well done as it is. And it's just so crazy that like the album cover was because she didn't want to pay for a photo shoot, you know? Like, and in the fucking album, she's like, or maybe it's in the remix album where she's like, or I don't even know. No, it's in I Might Say Something Stupid where she's like, I'm not that famous, but like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not famous either. Um, uh, and so many of the songs, like even Apple, like her label was like, no, we don't like
Yeah.
this one. Don't put out Apple. And now it's like the second or third biggest song on the album. Um, and what's so interesting is like Von Dutch was the lead single,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's like not even like in her top five most streamed songs on Spotify right now. And like, but if she had put out like 360 first, I actually don't think it would have like the sequencing of the singles into the album would have worked. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but Von Dutch is still that girl. Like, still maybe my favorite.
I was gonna say it's definitely one of my most listened to, one of my top
Yeah.
five listened to songs by her. I think it was. I mean, Von Dutch is. She's literally. She opens with like, "It's okay to just admit that you're jealous of me." Like, yeah, I heard
Yeah.
you talk about me. That's the word on the street, and so that is the brat persona right there, and like the whole like it's so obvious I'm your number one, like that whole thing and then it was also so like clubby and like you just want to dance to that song
You want to
and
headbang,
yes,
like,
like turn it all the way up like which I think was another part of the album that was so well done was like
mm,
I love how in club classics like you can literally hear where she would like if she was live DJing a set like where she would cut something and then like bring it back in later, you know, like she does that in the song.
mm-hmm.
Um and there was so like 365 is also like that and that's, you know, how she ends the album. Um so yeah, and then I think that that is part of what makes the album so strong and also that leads into talking about like the cultural phenomenon that was Brat
Mm,
Summer. Like
God bless.
the people wanted to dance. The people wanted to forget
To scream.
the state of the world, like right
To
now.
scream
And
like Addison Rae.
yeah, her scream is so good. Um,
Yeah, and the fucking remix album. What's so funny is like when the remix album dropped, for like 5 seconds, I was really upset because I wanted it to be like a DJ set where all the songs go into the next. And then I very quickly did not wish that at all because what I think she did instead was like each song, she like she has the normal version and then she like distilled it down to like its purest essence and found another person or two who can also like perfectly relate and add something to that. And like every single I can't say every single song is better, but like I would say like the almost like the message and like how bratty and how direct she's being with what she has to say, like they're all like deeper cuts than
hmm
the original. Like she
totally.
fucking digs in even harder. And like look at her collaborator list. Like it's unreal. And kind of like Cowboy Carter, it's like she has these people who are almost like lifting her up, and she has these people who she's lifting up at the same
hmm
time. Um, yeah, stream the fucking remix album. Like
Yeah. No, that was
that's
something
just
else I
crazy.
put in this in my notes was like just the fact that she found a way to change what it means to release a song. Like she
Mm,
said, I never like the idea that like once you release a song, it's done. I like to think of them as
yes.
like living, breathing, and always changing. And so she could have done that, and then she also decided to bring in all these other artists, which is pretty impressive for what the industry is like now. I feel like more than ever it's very like competitive and
Mm.
people comparing artists to each other
And she's a brat.
and yeah, and he brought in people from all over like many different genres, and I think that that was such a cool thing to do that with the entire album. Um,
Also, like, I think one of the things I'm loving most about Charlie is she takes things that are so overdone and trite and has such an interesting way of making them seem new. And what I'm thinking of specifically right now is people, artists, love to like, oh, I'm putting out this album and it's all uppercase, it's all
mhm.
lowercase, and like, ooh, like, wow, like, never been done before. And it's so overdone. Like, no one cares that all your songs are, like, no one cares. And what Charlie did with this album is the first letter is capitalized and then nothing else is. And at first you're like, okay, that's uninteresting. But it's a text. It's like in your phone, you type the
Mhm.
first letter and it's auto caps and then everything else is like it's like everything once you start digging into every single little decision that she made, you're like, no, like she has such a unique perspective. She's just so smart.
Mhm.
And we haven't even talked about like the pairing of like the party 365 like fucking headbang Von Dutch with I think about it all the time with I might say
Like
something
it's so
stupid.
stupid.
Like
Yeah.
these are like the rawest songs she's ever made. Oh, and about the remixing, like she's always done this with her songs. Like
Mhm.
from like on How I'm Feeling Now, C 2.0 is like a remix of Click, from Charlie. And on Charlie, Blame It On Your Love is a remix plus Lizzo of track
Mhm.
10 from
Mhm.
Pop 2. Like, this has always been a part of her persona. Like, Charlie is Charlieing her hardest. And I feel like her being public about things like, I used to never think about Billboard, like that, like being that real in your songs almost like gives you this edge where it's like, well, clearly you're okay with that.
Mhm.
It's like being so public about your vulnerabilities and your insecurities says so much about where you are. And so even though she is being so raw and vulnerable and like, am I gonna have a kid? Like, I'm a fucking workaholic and like now I'm the most famous I've ever been.
Yeah, you're
So
not
like I
supposed to
don't want to
stop when things
stop.
get good. Yeah.
But it's like the fact that she's at that point where like she's processing and like publicly processing, it really just adds to like her security. Like she
Mhm.
actually is, I think, very secure about a lot of these things. And it's so impressive.
Yeah, I say that her thing is like bad girls can be sad girls too. And I love that. And I think that's such an important message in today's pop culture, cuz yeah, and I was when we're talking about moments in pop culture, another thing was like this album was really breathing throughout the summer. Like we had
Mm.
once one big moment was done, something else would come up. Like Girl So Confusing featuring Lord. Insane. Like the remix heard around the world and like means so much to high
Me.
schoolers and my our internal high schoolers is what I meant to say. Yes, like me. Me
Let's work
personally.
it out on the
Yeah.
remix.
And
And we're gonna get another Lord album thanks to Charlie XCX. Let us not forget that.
she's really paying it forward. Like she brought that it's just such a crazy story too, and then after that it was the Apple Dance, and like it was just there was moment after moment that everyone could participate in and everyone could relate to, And then on top of that, I think what I love so much about this album, one of the things, is her prose and her lyricism and how so much of it, like, it doesn't rhyme, you know? Like, she's
Yeah.
just
I don't give a
talking
fuck.
or whatever, and like, or she's saying like exactly what's going through her head. There's not, for a lot of them, there's not necessarily like this big concept metaphor that is like masking everything. Like, I might say something stupid,
Hmm.
like, I snag my tights out on the lawn
Long
chair.
chat.
Like, of course it's symbolic, and of course that has a deeper meaning to it, but it's such a, like, just like a visual moment that you can picture, and it has happened to you in one way or another, you know, and just that whole song being like a minute something long, and it just being like all of her internal, like, ruminations, and that was so much
Yeah.
of the lyricism throughout the album, like also in Girl So Confusing, very just like, I don't know if you like me, I don't know if I like you, you know, like it's not like super. And I think that's kind of different from Crash, where it was
So
very
different.
polished. Like the lyrics were very polished, very crisp, and like,
Rhyme.
yeah.
And we've talked about this. Like what she said about writing this album is this was the first time she like wrote songs with an intention of what she was gonna write them about,
Mhm.
as opposed to she used to like get tracks and like literally vocalize over them,
Mhm.
and then like pair words to the sounds that she was making, which is so fascinating, like artistically. And you can see that like she's actually never really made songs like this. Like
Mhm.
sonically, this is very much Charlie verse. But I think this is like my perception of her career. Like she got very, like, she's such a good songwriter, and she's written huge songs for other people too. And she kind of boiled it down to a science of like how to make a great song. And that's what she was kind of using her like sellout idea on Crash, right? Is like, I'm like really fucking good at writing a pop song.
Yeah.
So what if I just like use those formulas and use these like themes um that are already out there in this package that's already out there in my own way. And then this album she was like, what if I just do whatever the fuck I want
Mhm.
and like actually process things and heal and like challenge myself in my songwriting? And I think that's what made this like critically also so successful. Like music journalists love to hear songs about writing songs, and they love to hear songs by artists like grappling with their own artistry.
Mhm.
And she does it like, I went my own way and I made it, like
Mhm.
it's like bragging, um but it's also like so like artists aren't supposed to say that. Like
Mhm.
artists are supposed to fucking talk about love or whatever. And she really just doesn't give a fuck anymore, and that's why everyone's connected with it, I think.
Yeah. And I think going into the stuff about the music industry and when artists talk about it and when they don't and stuff, um, I don't know if you remember, I sent you like some quotes from an article a few weeks ago where it was talking about what works in Brat when Charlie's talking about the industry and stuff, is that she talks a lot about how it's affecting her and how she is like
Mm,
disappointed in herself sometimes for caring about these things, or like not being true to herself. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, my life is so hard, you know, like there's fans
being
everywhere, which
famous
that
sucks.
like valid. I'm sure that it's really hard, but like that's that is very quick to get like eaten up, like
Mm.
like not in a good way by like
Yeah.
people who are listening, like being like they will descend on it like a pack of wolves. And but hers was so honest and so like that everything is romantic, um with
The remix.
Caroline Polachek,
Yeah.
um so different from everything is romantic on Brat, but like you were talking about, like the distilled nugget
Yeah.
of what she's talking about is present in the flip side. And she's talking about herself and how the industry has affected her and her relationships and her relationship with work and stuff like that. And that's very nuanced, like a very nuanced take on all of that, and something that went over really well, I think.
Caroline Polachek, y'all already know how we feel about her. Um, and they've been such longtime collaborators. I think that's what's really cool about this album, like the remix specifically, is everyone she's working with, she also like has this relationship with, even if
Yeah.
it is even if it is a bit superficial. Like Ariana Grande on "Sympathy Is a Knife," you know,
So good.
when you think you're so pretty, they think you must be fake, you know, like she picked kind of the perfect person for that song, and she made it so much more real. Like "Sympathy Is a Knife" is also one of my
That's one of
favorites.
my favorites.
Um, and it's like her grappling with like, I don't want your pity, like, but I'm so insecure. And like, where do I fit in as a celebrity? Where do I fit in just as like a person? Um, and then with Ariana Grande, it's like, it's so explicitly about fame. And like, when she released Brat to when she released the remix album, it's like Chappell Roan, you know, like a few months before she got really famous to like the summer. And so she's just doing the damn thing.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I something else about Sympathy is a Knife that I hadn't really thought about until the concert, until the Sweat Tour, was that when the intro was playing, she was like, I get mood swings, but drastically so. And I was like, that is a whole other level to all of this feeling of like, why can't I be like, I couldn't be her if I tried, you know? Because as another extremely emotional individual, like, who can be very ruled by my emotions from time to time, like, it was really just like, wow. Like, that is exactly how I feel sometimes. I didn't even think about this level to that song until she said that, and I was just like, she's done it again.
That's so
Like, she's done it again.
when I saw her and she did "Sympathy Is a Knife," the intro started, everyone started screaming. She went, "Oh, you fucking like this one, huh?"
No, and now she said, after she said that, she said, but today is a fucking good day, Chicago. You've got me on a really, really good day. And everyone was like, wow. And yeah, no, I just love it. Also, love how she keeps saying George. She keeps talking about her man. Like, and it's so just like little glimpses into their relationship that makes you feel like, aw, like,
Yeah. And the last thing I have to say is about "So I," the Sophie tribute. Like, wow. Like, crazy that in a song to like a dead person, she like is being like, oh, like our relationship was actually not great. And like she was like, I was petrified, you know, like I was kind of scared of you. And you were so amazing. Like she just really paints a full picture. She got her own color, you know, like literally last night I was like talking to someone and I was like, oh yeah, like we're like chartreuse, and he was like, oh, like what color is that? And I was like brat green, and they go, oh, you know, like literally like
yeah.
it's not even chartreuse, and then that's not like the
Like
perfect color, but
everything I own that's green, I'd be like, that's so brat. Like,
no, literally for months, like
actually, for months, I have like green socks. I'm like, my brat socks. Like, but
for
yeah, no, so
Christmas is red and
I
brat
is
red.
also. It's such a brave song to put out and vulnerable because, like you said, it is a song where she's kind of admitting that she pushed this person away and now she's having regrets about it. And and trying to work through those emotions and like still talking to Sophie.
And Lord knows I love a ballad. Oh la la. Well, is there anything else we need to tell the people?
I don't think so. Thanks for listening.
You're a real one if you made it
Yeah.
this far.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy holidays. See you next year.
Oh. Okay.
Bye.
Fun.
Besos.